Kia ora. Welcome to the One Tower Teacher Training Module 7, which is Seeing. I'm currently here in the dojo in Sydney, which is just awesome. So I highly recommend you either coming to train in Sydney at the dojo in Willoughby or finding your closest One Tower temple. But yeah, so without further ado, this module is about seeing. So seeing, I'm going to take a step back for a second. I found that the seeing module has sort of put a lot of the previous modules into perspective and infused them all together. And essentially seeing is not seeing like we think, with your eyes, you look over there and you're seeing it, but it's seeing of energy, seeing of your thought forms. Every thought has an image, and that image creates energy. And the type of energy is dependent on the image and the story you give it. There's a cool book called The Tyranny of Words, and the example is, for example, it's a very simple example, the word home. Now home could be, well, what is the definition of home? Is home a place, a roof that you sleep under, or somewhere where you sleep, or somewhere where you live? Or is home, when you think of home, is it a nice memory that you think of in the past or in the future or in the now? It's filled with people you care about, and maybe siblings, or that you maybe do or don't at certain times, but those sorts of things. So it's the meaning you give it, I think. So seeing with every in the context of the state, what image do you give when we think of spiritual intention? What image is there when you think of centering? And it's centering specifically. Centering in itself has an image. What is that? Center. Then sensing. What is your image of sensing? Not everything else that goes with it, but of sensing. And then again, what is your image of sinking? And then what is your, here's a tricky one. It's not a tricky one. Here's an interesting one. What is your image of seeing? And then what is your image of state? Because do you have separate images for each one? And then when you get to the state, you can put them together? Or is it infused in one throughout all of that? But when you're practicing it from an experiential point of view, what image is coming to your mind or forming when you are practicing the elements of the state? It's a huge module, and there's a lot in there, but I want to be precise with and simplified with my explanation or teaching of that, because I like breaking things down and going into it, but sometimes, as Buddha said, the whole universe is found in a grain of sand. I believe it was Buddha. I might be. Someone correct me. So I'll learn something. So seeing is the seeing of the imagery, of the seeing of what happens in your mind's eye when you are practicing your Kung Fu. And then taking that and how we practice it. So there was exercises done where you would, it's a strength, structure, state type element to it, but you do it with, you go and like for a tansao and you hold it. If you're practicing at home and you've got a partner, you can do this, which we call strength, structure, state. We do it across the range of teaching to basically give you an experience, a way to experience it. So you do your strength, how you'd move it with your biomechanics and your muscles. Structure, then more internal, sensing your bones, your structure, and then moving from your joints, rotating your joints, and then the practice of the state. However, the practice is of seeing. So add your seeing. Just practice it with the image that you have. So if you're practicing sensing, the image of sensing, nothing else, combined with moving. The image of sinking, nothing else, combined with moving. Or taking whatever practical application you are doing. And then, practical application, your image of seeing. Right? And then you can take it to the next level and go, right, now experience sensing for my state. So strength, structure, state. State being sensing plus the image of sensing. So experience sensing. Now add the image of what sensing is for you, and then do your movement. And then the same for the other ones. If sinking, so sink, and see sinking, maybe a way to see your like target down the power plane. Now see your image of whatever that could be, the targeting, that could be exactly it could be completely different. And that's the beauty of your experience as a practitioner of Wing Chun Kung Fu, One Tao style. Nice link to the One Tao style there, but which it wasn't intentional. So yeah, and you can do that through all the other elements. And then there's more. But wait, there's more. You get 2 steak knives. They're not steak knives, but it'd be kind of cool. Cut up your steak. Anyway, few tangents here and there. And then what you can do is to practice that strength, structure, state, but sensing, the image of sensing, and then the image of seeing, image of sinking, and the image of... So you can add all these. Basically what I'm trying to say is that you can add the visual elements, the visual energy to the application that you're doing. And another way that Sifu talks about is a way to I guess give you something to think about. For us, seeing is the visual energy is like, it's like if you've ever done dancing before, if you've done salsa, I've done salsa before, so I'll use salsa as an example. When you're leading your partner, if you are not one step ahead of where you physically are, you're not going to have, that's when people's toes get stood on. And your partner, she goes, that you're not necessarily a good lead, or other people she might not want to dance with you, for example. But when you're doing it, when you are leading well, is that that is a joyful experience, a good experience for both partners. So basically what that means is if I'm going to go to the right, I'm already there mentally with my seeing energy before I step to the right. And so for Kung Fu, the power plane, we see the power plane and we're already there. If you check out on the One Tao Army post, there's a video of the All Blacks for a Gatorade as a drink promotion, but basically there's the energetic body, the mental body out in front of the person running through. That's the same thing. So my point of this waffle is that the seeing energy is the mind doing what we intended to do. So the exercises that to give this context is Imagine walking the dog. The dog runs off in that direction and your arm goes that way. The dog in this situation is the mind. You could do it for anything else that you replace dog with any other animal. Another one is combing your hair. You're talking your hair for non-Kiwis. So it's the knowingness of just doing it and where you're going. You know that if you're going to comb, if you want to comb it back, you start and you go that way, right? Or if you're doing a front mullet, you'd go that way, a frullet. Or if you've got the mullet and you want a bit of a perm, you get the drift, right? It's the intention of doing it. It's you've got a cup of a drink and you're going to reach for that drink before you've even actually reached for it. The decision's been made, the idea, the intention's been put there. And another one you could do is you imagine you're giving directions on the phone, you're talking to someone, you go that way, that way, that way. It's not physically put there. The idea is directing the physical movement, and that is the seeing element to it, and ways that you can practice it. The way that we do it in punching is a couple of is targeting. So you've got a pad here, and you punch. You can target the front of the pads, front of the hand, so it just hits there. You can target through the hand to behind it, so it goes through, or you can target into the hand, so it goes into the body, or into the hand, and that is a seeing element to it. And obviously you've got the other elements of spiritual intention, highest intention, centering, sensing, syncing, seeing, stating. So yeah, that's the seeing element. It's an awesome module with so many tidbits and snippets of information. I personally found that module amazing and filled with so much information that kind of helped support and power up the other elements of the state. So highly recommend it. And at the end of the day, for me, there's the thoughts, what can be called thought forms. They're not a string of sentences. They're an image. And that image can be black and white, can be filled with colour, it can be one colour, it can be whatever it is. And that those images have energy and frequency to it. And so the question is, what images are going on inside you and what energy are they creating? And the cool thing about it is you get to choose. So choose well. Peace, love, and kung fu.